so many books. I'm so excited. This is my top picks for July, part 2, coming up. Keep reading. Hi, Terri Gillespie here, and welcome to Top Picks for the month of July, part 2. Yes, there's so many great books. I had to make another episode, so here we go. Okay, and I actually have 2 lead books. The first one is Between the Sound and the Sea by award-winning and best-selling author Amanda Cox. I love Amanda Cox. Now she's great because she's not afraid to have quirky characters and quirky stories. This one's actually a little more mainstay, but it was good, extremely good. And it's got the sea, and then it has a lighthouse, long lost love, dual timelines. Yes, it's incredible. You're going to love this. Okay. So this is published by Revell, and it will come out, oh golly, I guess not next week, but the week after. So this is a pre-order. So, and a lot of times when you pre-order, especially if you pre-order on the publisher's website, there might be all sorts of goodies, or you might even get it a little sooner than the actual release date. So check it out. And I'll have the link down below in the description section, along with some other great stuff. So this is technically general fiction, of course, Christian fiction, but it's a dual timeline, which means there's a timeline in the past and in the present. And this one is just so cool. And there's some historical information. There are historical facts that I had no idea. And it was actually a little scary to know that this was happening during World War II. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, or maybe you already know, but I sure didn't know. So this is, I'm going to be interviewing Amanda, and I will interview Amanda. That will be the day after her release, August 6th. I'll have my interview of her, and I can't wait to talk to her. So this is in hardback, paperback, ebook, and audiobook. Now, if you don't know anything about Amanda, let me tell you a little bit. So Amanda is the Christie Award-winning author of The Edge of Belonging, The Secret Keepers of Old Depot Grocery. I love it. I love it. Just the titles. And He Should Have Told the Bees. I'm telling you. So good. So good. She holds a bachelor's degree in Bible and theology and a master's degree in professional counseling. We're going to have so much fun in that interview. But her first love is communicating through story. Her studies and her interactions with hurting families over the decade have allowed her to create multi-dimensional characters, absolutely true, that connect emotionally with readers. She lives in Chattanooga, Tennessee with her husband and 3 children. I was just in Chattanooga last week for an event. Okay, so here's a little summary. Her family name tarnished, Josephina escapes to a remote North Carolina island to oversee the restoration of a lighthouse, one complete with ghost stories, rumors, and notes tucked into the old stone walls. Perhaps if she can untangle the secrets of the past, she can restore a family's reputation and correct the course of her own life in the process. Yeah, and maybe there might be a guy Who knows? All right. So, um, I don't know. Should we do the prologue? I think I'm going to do, because it's kind of an older person leading in to tell the story of what's coming up. So, and it's not that too far in the future. So let's do chapter 1, the first paragraph. October 2007, Copper Creek, Tennessee. Joey Harris, and Joey is Josephina. Joey Harris stood from her desk chair and stared out the window of her second-story office. Golden leaves dropped from the trees and pasted themselves on the damp sidewalk bordering the historic town square. Two middle-aged women chatted below, their closed umbrellas propped at their side. If only they would move from the sidewalk into her office and write their names down in the blank spaces in her appointment book. Okay, so Amanda, I'm going to have fun talking with you. Okay, so guess what? I'm finally reviewing Dennis Conrad's Marcus and the Emperor's Coin. Now, and I'll put the link down below, but I talked about his first book in the In God We Trust series, which was the 2-cent piece. So I'll put, like I said, I'll put a link for that down below. So Dennis was actually my July interview and A2A interview. And he's just the nicest man. He's brilliant, totally brilliant. And he's just the nicest, humblest man. And his stories for children are so beautiful. He was a coin collector for 50 years, and he takes his love and passion for collecting coins, and he puts it into these little books for children. I mean, this is just a beautiful book, and the illustrator is the same illustrator that did my book with Cynthia, A Penny Saved. So it's Courtney Smith. So, all right. So Dennis by the way, this is published by Elk Lake Publishing, and it comes in paper and hardback. And I think eventually it will be in audiobook. I know 2-cent coin. No, it is. It is in audiobook, because I think James Robert is the narrator, who's incredible. So Dennis is a former coin collector for over 50 years. Dennis Conrad combines his love for the Bible, children's literature, and sharing stories about the history behind coins. Dennis retired as a professor of speech communications from Barstow Community College. He and his wife served as English and public speaking teachers 10 summers overseas. All right, so here's a little bit about the book. Marcus and the Emperor's Coin is an exciting adventure in the ancient Roman Empire at the time of Christ. 8-year-old Marcus and his father are on a mission for the emperor and visit a mine and a mint where coins were made. Marcus himself makes a denarius, a coin with the emperor's image. Marcus goes to Jerusalem, where he sees Jesus hold a denarius, saying, "Give to the emperor the things that are the emperor's, and to God the things that are God's." What will seeing Jesus mean for Marcus, and will he ever be the same again? And what's really cool is Dennis is so good about creating children's characters that are so real, and they might be awkward or they might have fears. So it's just great. Kids are really going to identify with these books. Oh, he signed this one over to me. Huh. That was sweet. Okay. So, and great pictures, which are going to pop up thanks to my husband. Marcus hopped from one foot to the other. He wanted to run, laugh, and shout. Father put his hand on Marcus's head. You know we're going on an important mission for the Emperor of Rome, right, son? Yes, Father. We can't have any mess-ups, okay? Some of Marcus's joy left. He was good at messing up. Mom said he'd grow out of his clumsy stage soon. Marcus hopes so. You're going to love the interview, and I'll have the link down below for that as well. All right, so next book is Ryland Steck's book 3 in the Matthew Read thrillers, Out for Blood. Now, I couldn't really tell if this is the final book. I mean, there's still some things that haven't been wrapped up, so it makes me hope that there's another book. But what I love about Ryan is if you are an adrenaline junkie or a couch adrenaline junkie, you are going to love this. Now, I do want to warn you that you probably won't sleep on the days that you read it because it's so exciting. So if you don't know Ryan, let me tell you a little bit more about him. But before I do that, this book came out in June. It comes out in paperback, ebook, and audiobook. And it's published by Tyndale. So here's a little bit about Ryan. Ryan Steck is an editor, an author, and the founder and editor-in-chief of the Real Book Spy. Ryan has been named an online influencer by Amazon and is a regular columnist at Crime Reads. Ryan is a resident of Michigan along with his wife and their 6 kids. How in the world does he have time to write? Okay, here's a little bit about the book. Winters in Montana can be deadly, but it wasn't the cold that was killing Matthew Red. Gavin Klein, Executive Assistant Director of the FBI's Intelligence Directorate, is escorting a high-value prisoner with the intel to bring down a global conspiracy when their plane comes under attack. In the aftermath, much of Klein's team is dead, but he recovers a phone from a member of the hit team that reveals another attack is imminent. This time, they're going after the man who was instrumental in capturing the prisoner and foiling their plans, Matthew Red. When Red learns he is in the crosshairs, he sends his family into hiding and heads for the mountains. He might be outnumbered, but the hit team will have to hunt him down on his own turf. With a snowstorm bearing down on Montana and no help in sight, Red fights for survival in the harshest conditions. But when they take the fight to his hometown, he'll need all his allies at his back to save what he holds most dear. A page-turning thriller set in the heart of Montana, Ryan Steck's third action-packed Matthew Red novel is perfect for the fans of the hit show Yellowstone and readers of C.J. Box. Okay. So should we do prologue? Okay. All right, we'll do prologue. This is Montana. Winters in Montana can be deadly, but it wasn't the cold that was killing Matthew Red. Only 18 hours earlier, one of the worst storms the state had ever seen had begun sweeping across Big Sky country. If you've never been to Montana, you have to go. It's so beautiful. And when they say Big Sky, it's weird because the sky looks bigger there. It really does. Forecast predicted 2 feet of snow, sub-zero temperatures, and winds in excess of 50 miles per hour. When he first heard about the forthcoming blizzard, Red had been worried about practical things like making sure they had enough gas for the generator, plenty of bottled water in case the pump went out or a pipe burst, and enough food and baby formula in case they were stuck at the ranch for a few days. Now he was on his back, lying in 18 inches of fresh powder, bleeding profusely, and only minutes away from certain death. What'd I tell you? Incredible. All right. A debut novelist. I always like to have at least one debut novelist. And this debut novel is Until Our Time Comes. And it's set during World War II Poland. And it's by Nicole M. Miller. And in case you couldn't guess, there are horses involved. And Nicole is very much a horsewoman. So this is published by Revell. It came out at the beginning of the month. And it's in paperback, hardback, ebook, and audiobook. And Nicole, if this is just your first book, I can't wait to read what you're going to write next. So let's learn a little bit more about Nicole. So obviously this is historical romance. So Nicole M. Miller lives in Washington State. We lived there too for 2 years. With her husband and 2 sons, along with her Arabian horses. My husband's family had Arabians. Chickens, ducks, dogs, cats, and guinea pigs. As a longtime horse owner, she has been involved in many horse organizations, including serving in the Clark County Fair Court and as Miss Teen Rodeo in Washington State. She's received national and regional awards for her nonfiction from American Horse Publications and the Society of Professional Journalists. You can see those stories in The Horse of My Heart, The Horse of My Dreams, The Dog Who Came to Christmas, and The Second Chance Horses. Okay, so here's a little bit about the story. The German invasion of Poland derails Adia Kensington's plans to learn from the greatest breeders of Arabian horses in the world, but also brings a British spy to her aid. Amidst the blitzkrieg and a tense occupation, the two clash over everything except their efforts to save the horses, and this is based on true events. And I do want to say, it's more than about saving the horses. It's also about saving innocence as well. And I always like maps because sometimes I get a little confused when they start rattling off these different cities, and especially if they're moving around a lot. Okay, prologue. July 23rd, 1939, we go to Poland, 5 kilometers northeast of Jano. Sorry, Nicole. Podlaski stables. The movement was swift, the fingers light, the absence of his pilfered pocket watch barely noticeable, and yet it was as if a blaring siren sounded through his skull. It's a little pickpocket. One of many really endearing characters. Yeah, a little pickpocket. Okay. Okay. Nancy Mehl's, I think this is the last book in the Ryland and St. Clair series, Cold Vengeance. Now, this one was, I love a good suspense. I love a good murder mystery. But Nancy, when the murders are taking place in my old hometown, Baldwin, Missouri. And later on, there are some murder victims, and one of them is Terri Gillespie. Are you trying to tell me something? I mean, should I be worried a little bit? Anyway, of course, I love this book, and I'm going to keep this book forever because it's got my name in it and my old stomping grounds. So, yeah, in Castlewood. I used to go swimming. Had a season's pass at Castlewood Pool. Okay, so if you don't know Nancy's written like tons of books. She's written like 50 books, and they're all like nail biters. So this is published by Bethany House. It came out last week, so you can order. And it is considered suspense, Christian suspense, and it comes in hardback, paperback, ebook, and audiobook. So Nancy Mehl so I keep thinking Melville, so it must be Mel, is the author of more than 50 books, a Parable and ECPA bestseller, and the winner of an ACFW of the Book of the Year Award, a Carol Award, and the Daphne du Maurier Award. She has also been a finalist for the Christie Award. Nancy writes from her home in Missouri, where she lives with her husband, Normal. I'm sure he is normal, but his name is Norman. And their Puggle Watson. Oh, that's funny, because one of the characters has a dog named Watson. Okay, so here's a little bit about the story. As former FBI analysts turned private investigators, River Ryland and Tony St. Clair are hired to find a missing crime blogger known for investigating cold cases. As they work through the woman's latest case, they awaken a serial killer who will stop at nothing to carry out a deadly plan. All right. Prologue. Oh, this is freaky. Okay. Her will to fight was fueled more by fear than resolve, but it was all she had left. She stumbled down the dark hallway, fingers fumbling along the wall, searching for a way out. There was still a flame burning in her soul, willing her to battle for freedom. How could this have happened? Who had betrayed her, forced her into this nightmare? Was anyone coming for her? She whispered a prayer to a God she wasn't sure was listening. Would he save her, or had he abandoned her? And you'll see my name and the town I grew up in. Oh, Leslie. I love Leslie Gould. Okay, so I interviewed Leslie a few months ago on her release of book 2. This is the final book in the Amish Memories series, and I'm sad because there are characters in there that I just don't want to say goodbye to. So this is by Evening's Light, and it's published by Bethany House, and it will be released on August 20th, which means pre-order. And I'll, of course, have the link down below in the description section. I also have a link to Leslie's interview, too. She just was a delight, absolute delight. So this is technically contemporary fiction. There are Amish involved, there are Mennonites involved, and there's also history involved. And the history is really good, really exciting. You think that Amish books can't be exciting? Not with Leslie. So here's a little bit about Leslie. She is a Christie Award-winning and #1 best-selling author of over 45 novels, including 4 Lancaster County Amish series. We used to go there when we lived in Pennsylvania. We used to go to Amish country all the time. She holds a bachelor's degree in history and an MFA in creative writing. She enjoys church history, research trips, and hiking in the Pacific Northwest. She and her husband live in Portland, Oregon, and have 4 adult children and 2 grandchildren. All right, so here's a little bit about this book. Heartbroken after a failed relationship, Treva Zimmerman returns to Lancaster County to visit her Amish relatives before leaving her plain past behind her for good. While caring for her elderly Aunt Rosine, Treva finds inspiration in her aunt's story of a dramatic trip to Cold War Germany. But is it enough to change her plans? I love Aunt Rosine. I don't want to say goodbye to Aunt Rosine. She is a hoot. So the first 2 books focused on Treva's elder sisters. So this is, like I said, the 3rd and final book, and it focuses on Treva. All right, March 26, 2019, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. After 6 months on a mission trip, I was back in Lancaster County, but not for long. Tears blurred my vision. Both the White House and Red Barn seemed to have grown larger since I'd left. So had the green pastures. Even my beloved cows seemed bigger. Okay, so, I don't know. Her plans sound a little iffy. How about you? All right, last book. This is Amanda Cabot, and this is, I think, book 3 of Sweetwater Crossing. And it is historical romance, Revell, and it's Amanda Cabot, not to be confused with Amanda Cox, which I did once, and it was very embarrassing. Okay, so Amanda Cabot, I do love her writing, absolutely. And her historical romances are exciting and just page-turning. So Amanda Cabot, I said Revell, right? And it came out last week, so you don't have to pre-order. You can get it right away. And of course, it's paperback, hardback, ebook, and audiobook. So here's a little bit about Amanda. Amanda is the best-selling author of After the Shadows and Against the Wind, as well as several historical and contemporary romance series, including Mesquite Springs, Cimarron Creek Trilogy, Texas Crossroads, Texas Dreams, and Westward Winds. Her books have been finalists for the ACFW Carol Awards, the Holt Medallion, and Booksellers Best. She lives in Wyoming. That's a pretty state, too. I've only driven through it, though. All right. So I always like when they have little maps. So this is a map of their little town. All right. Did I tell you what it was about? No. Okay. Let me read that. A summary. Her career as a concert pianist at an end, Joanna Vaughn comes home to Sweetwater Crossing, widowed and unsure what the future holds. The arrival of a pair of newcomers stirs up a decades-old mystery, a shocking revelation, and the chance for Joanna to find true love. So once again, this is a series based on 3 sisters, and they're very different sisters. So Joanna was missing from, I think, the first 2 books. So now we get to learn about her. Well, actually, no, I think she was in the first book. Friday, September 14th, 1883. Dreams weren't supposed to die, but Joanna Richter's had, all except one. The concerts at Munich's glorious Odeon and Vienna's incomparable Musikverein had nurtured the dreams she'd cherished for almost as long as she could remember, but it had crumbled, destroyed by something the doctors told her was invisible to the human eye. The majesty of the Swiss Alps had sown the seeds of another dream, one that had withered before it could fully flower. Now there was only one left. I think we've all had that, where dreams that we've had just kind of disappear. But God always has a plan, and God loves us. So it just means it's time to take the path that he has for us, even if that path was through some of these other dreams. Maybe the dreams are just a temporary thing to prepare us for the big dream. Anyway, so that's it for this episode. Didn't mean to wax poetic, but here we go. So that was this month's top picks, and I can't wait. I already have my stack of books for next month's top picks, and they're good ones. They're really good ones. So I hope you'll join me then. But in the meantime, God bless. Keep reading. See you soon.